Mexico is full of surprises. I'm always amazed how in a country so rich with history, so full of culture and beauty, sometimes the most memorable experiences are the ones I least expect. Take the Yucatan Peninsula. From the beaches of Cancun to the tops of the Mayan ruins, markets, mythology, ancient recipes, elevated cuisine, the Yucatan has it all. And yet, one of her greatest surprises lies in a tiny seaside village that's full of pride, passion, and generosity. You won't find this one in the guidebooks. Champotón. Me llenaste el corazón.
Dame, dame, dame tu chocolate, dame, dame, dame tu piloncillo, dame, dame, dame café caliente, dame, dame, dame tu corazón.
You've probably never heard of Champotón. Comfortably nestled into the western coast of the Yucatan Peninsula in the state of Campeche, the southern waters of the Gulf of Mexico are so bountiful here that this tiny town is one of the largest seafood suppliers in the entire country. The local fishermen here have it good. Everything is caught the old-fashioned way. Every morning they go out, every afternoon they return. Boats filled. A few steps away from the docks, you'll find your choice of the daily catch at this sprawling local market. And that's where I met my host, lifelong Champotón resident, Chachi.
¿A dónde vamos primero? Yo te sigo.
Chachi's this amazing woman, full of life. She loves cooking.
¿Qué vamos a comprar?
Pierna, okay. Chachi has invited me to a Champotón feast with her family, and we are at the market finding ingredients for that meal.
She's making a pibipollo, which is a gigantic tamal. The tradition here in Champotón is to come to the market and you're gonna buy what you cook that day, every day.
A market is a true representation of the town it's in. In Champotón, it's fish vendor after fish vendor.
You need to see the dogfish. That's the cazón or dogfish. Very traditional here in Champotón. Hacen todo con cazón, ¿verdad? Ah, te lo está cortando en trozos. José, también podemos llevar un poco del cazón que ya... ¿Ese cómo está?
Ese es cazón masado.
So this is the dogfish. They clean it and they open it up. They put it in the sun.
Le pongo la parrilla y ya lo pongo a asar.
¿Con leña o con carbón?
No, carbón.
Con carbón. ¡Oh, qué chula!
In Mexico, markets are truly a family affair. And Chachi's family is no exception.
Her parents used to work this stand and she used to help them. ¿Cómo se llamaba?
La Candelaria, frutería
Así
La
se
Candelaria.
llamaba siempre.
Sí, ella es mi hermana.
Ah,
Ella es mi hermana.
Mucho
Ella es mi
gusto.
hermana.
It's her sister. It's incredible how in Mexico food business is a family business.
Él es un amiguito de muchos años. Él es mi hermano.
Oh, mucho gusto.
Román.
It looks like Champotón is one big family.
There was one more person Chachi wanted me to meet, and it would have a delicious payoff.
They grew up together here in the market.
Chachi's dear friend Evangelina has a panucheria, and her family has been feeding panuchos to this market for 42 years.
Me dijeron que sus panuchos son los más ricos de acá y que tiene unos muy especiales.
Sí.
What are panuchos, you ask? They are your new favorite snack. Fresh masa is pressed and fried into a pillowy bed that is then topped, here with tiny shrimp and avocado. And as we always do in Mexico, we dress it up. Salsa, cabbage, pickled onion, and...
The tiny little shrimp, so sweet and tender. A little bit salty.
Deliciosa.
¡Qué rico antojito! ¡Muchas gracias!
Gracias a ustedes
Chachi,
por habernos visitado.
vámonos a cocinar.
Sí.
Bueno, go
Tenemos
cook.
aceptada.
Ya, sí, vámonos.
In Mexico, the story of the hacienda is tightly wound in the fabric of our national history. For decades, they've stood as social and economic symbols of Spanish colonialism. Today, many have found new life as hotels, spas, or privately owned estates. Chachi and her family have owned Hacienda Niop since 1991. As the kitchen is preparing for tonight's feast, her sons give me a tour.
This is David and Raul. Hey guys, so great to see you. And I'm looking forward to learning so much of the haciendas. Enséñame un poquito. ¿Qué es esto?
Este es una parte conocido como una noria.
So you were telling me, la hacienda is de what year? The hacienda dates 1892. 1892.
The haciendas were owned by Spanish colonial elites who ruled over the property like feudal princes.
The hacienda was, for a couple of centuries, the economic model in which the country was based. It was a place where people lived and where there was a certain production of an ingredient or different ingredients. Platícame un poquito de la capillita, de la iglesia.
Pues Raúl se casó aquí.
¿Aquí?
Sí, tuve la oportunidad de
Beautiful.
celebrarlo. Es muy bonita esta capillita.
What does this hacienda means to you and your family?
Es muy especial porque hemos vivido muchas etapas de la vida acá. Hoy que ya nos ha tocado casarnos acá, tener nuestros hijos y pues nos ha tocado vivir estas etapas.
Estos lugares es la cultura de nosotros. Hoy tenemos la oportunidad de estar nosotros en familia acá. Mañana van a ser otros. Pero lo más importante es que siempre esto se conserve para nosotros.
The hacienda is just stunning. But the conservation effort I am most impressed with is the cooking technique I am about to experience.
Pero quiero presentarte aquí a mi papá,
Hola.
Raúl Uribe,
Mucho
mi amiga
gusto,
Pati.
Raúl. Entonces, platícame.
Aquí lo que vamos a empezar a hacer es el sistema tan tradicional y antiguo de nuestros ancestros de preparar el pibipollo.
The process of cooking buried food has probably not centuries, but millennia. These cooking techniques is crucial to Mayan history.
Entonces ya estuvo la leña y ahora ¿qué sigue?
Lo que sigue ahorita es ponerle piedra. Cuando se prenda la leña, se haga carbón y las piedras se pongan calientes.
It's very practical if you think about it. You have to cook a whole animal. You have no refrigeration. It cooks overnight while you're sleeping. Nobody's gonna get to it because it's buried. And then you dig it out and you have food for the whole community or the town, or you have food for days.
Entonces eso se tarda como 1 hora. Las rocas van a estar hirviendo.
Sí, claro.
Ok.
You have to be so grateful when somebody takes you in their kitchen and in their home because they're really letting you in.
Esta cocina, que no es una cocina moderna,
Esto que ustedes están viendo acá,
Sí.
es lo que nosotros hacemos.
When I first laid eyes on Chachi, I just knew I was gonna have the meal of a lifetime.
We have the meat,
costilla,
pollo.
lo que compramos, le vamos a incluir
tenemos entonces la pasta de achiote,
achiote.
cumin seeds for the good
Todo lo que va a
digestion.
llevar.
She's adding the garlic cloves with the skin on. It helps with the texture and also the flavor.
Poquita agua.
Ajá.
Dale.
Hasta que quede bien licuadito. Doña Chachi, ¿quién le enseñó a usted esta receta?
Pues verdaderamente mi suegra, yo así aprendí con ella, lavando ollas, trastes y nada más viendo cómo lo hacía.
La marinada. Se ve buenísimo.
Chachi adds a mixture of masa and water called col to thicken the stew.
Ya me lo como, Chachi.
Ahora, la masa.
Ok.
Pásame la sal.
La sal, ok.
Sí,
So you
ajá.
have the masa, le echas salecita.
Sí, sales.
Aquí está la manteca que compramos.
Sí.
In Mexico, it is very common to use lard as a cooking fat. Chachi bought this bottle freshly rendered at the market.
Y este entonces de pibipollo es algo que tú has comido toda la vida.
Así es una tradición principalmente en el mes de noviembre, que es el Día de Difuntos, o sea, que se celebran.
Chachi, what's that sound? ¿Es un molino de viento?
Un molino de vientos.
And
Sí.
she says that the windmill helps you know what's going on out there, like if there's light wind, if a storm is coming, if what time of the day it is. Y le ayudo, Chachi. ¿Qué hago?
Sale.
¿De qué tamaño?
Así.
Es un pocito.
Pocito.
So she says we're making a well.
Rituals are beautiful. They give families and friends things to do together, and they're passing along things that have a lot of meaning.
Vamos a ver. ¿Cómo se ve esto?
Mira, quedó espectacular.
Ay, a ver. Uy, es como un pie. Like a savory pie
Sí,
with
como-
masa.
Buenas tardes, mi amor.
This is Chachi's mother-in-law. That's who she learned to make this pibi from. ¿Dónde aprendió usted a hacer el pibipollo? ¿Quién le
Yo.
enseñó a usted? ¿Su suegra?
Mi suegra, sí.
Las suegras son las que le enseñan a las nueras, también las mamás a sus hijas.
O sea, las mamás son muy consentidoras con las hijas.
So that's so interesting. She said that the moms spoil their daughters. It's once they get married that they learn from the mother-in-law, because the mother-in-law wants the daughter-in-law to feed her son, right?
Sí. Yes.
So she already added tomatoes,
Y el pasote
onions.
habanero.
With the pibi all filled, it's ready to be topped. A masa lid gets pressed onto the rest of the dish. The reserved sauce is rubbed all over to give it flavor and color. The pibipollo is then wrapped in banana leaves and securely tied. Chachi and I carefully transfer the pibi onto a board and carry it outside. All that's left is for it to be put into the earth to cook.
And then it will be covered with the leaves so that the smoke doesn't escape and all that flavor and heat stays to cook the tamal.
¿Verdad?
It cooks in there for 1 hour and then we're gonna come get it out.
Ya ve que está.
Muchas gracias.
Sí, gracias.
While the pibipollo cooks, Chachi has one more dish to show me, and that's the famous pan de cazón. Pan de cazón has no pan. Pan de cazón has no bread, so it sort of makes no sense. Doesn't matter. So many things in life that are so fabulous make no sense. Remember that dried dogfish we bought at the market? It's been softened in boiling water so that it can be shredded.
She'll squeeze some bitter orange and she's mixing it into the fish. Y ahora te traigo el sartén.
A pan of sauteed onion and epazote is ready to add flavor to the shredded dogfish.
Un poquito más. Ah,
A simple tomato sauce cooked with onions and epazote will be used to bathe the pan de cazón.
El sabor del epazote. Ta. ¿Iniciamos?
vas. The slather. One topping, the second slather.
Que te va a encantar.
Lleva
Listo.
tanta torre.
Ujú.
I am dying here and I haven't even tasted it.
Delicioso.
It is savory, it's rich, it's decadent, it's one of the most delicious things I've tasted.
This is an incredible Mexican dish. Incredible.
Qué lindo es mi Champotón, la avenida Revolución. Vamos a Campeche, hasta Champotón, a comer pescado y su rico pan de cazón.
Champotón is really the kind of experiences that I live for because it's not only the food, which of course I'm so hungry to taste new things, but I'm so hungry for learning what's behind that dish and that food and the people and what makes people happy at the table.
Chachi, qué rico está el tamal. Sí le valió la pena.
Ah, sí,
Vale
gracias.
la pena. O sea, de veras tiene tanto sabor. I really can taste the wood and the leaves and like all the rustic cooking. It's worth digging a hole for. ¡Qué rico!
Pati, te tenemos una sorpresa.
¿A mí? ¿A dónde?
Ven, acompáñame.
What an experience. You know, I always say that I'm happily torn between Mexico and the US, that I'm so homesick for my motherland, but I'm so grateful for my new home. But when I left Champotón, I felt that tear. I really want to go back. Like not once, but many times. recreate the Champotón experience, but the next best thing is to make dishes that remind me of it. I'm going to make some mini pibis, which are the mini versions of that gigantic pibipollo tamal that Chachi made. The first thing we're gonna do is mix 3 1/4 cups of masa harina, 3 1/2 cups of chicken broth. I am using my hands to mix the masa for a very scientific reason. And that is because it is a lot of fun, and fun is very healthy. You know that the masa is ready when it feels completely smooth. For these tamales, we're going to pre-cook the masa a little bit in a pot, and it's gonna make a completely different masa or tamal experience. I have 1 1/2 cups of water, and I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to add the masa to the pot. And then I'm going to add lard. I have a cup of lard. If you don't want to use lard, you can use vegetable shortening, or you can use coconut oil, and it gives the tamales a delicious flavor, and it has sort of the same consistency as the lard or the vegetable shortening. Stir and cook for several minutes until the water is absorbed and the masa has thickened and become springy. Look, this masa is ready. And the next thing we're gonna do is an achiote sauce to make chicken in achiote, because that's gonna be the filling for our mini pibis. Crumble 2 ounces of achiote paste into a blender. Let's talk about achiote. It tastes a little bit like saffron, and it's just rich. It's just flavor that is full, and it is just a taste that says Yucatan. So I'm adding 3 ripe tomatoes, a cup of chicken broth, some oregano, allspice, and garlic, and the thin slice of white onion, salt, and pepper. And we're gonna puree these until completely smooth. And then I'm gonna start heating the oil here, just a couple of tablespoons, medium-high heat. I can see the oil is starting to shake and tremble in the pan, and I'm gonna add the sauce. This is just gonna cook for about 8 to 9 minutes, and then I'm gonna add some chicken. You can use any kind of cooked chicken if you wanna bake it, if you wanna buy rotisserie. So I'm adding the chicken in the achiote sauce. To make the tamales, we're not using corn husks, we're using gigantic, enormous banana leaves. And yes, you can find them in your grocery store, or if not, a Latino or international grocery store nearby. You need 10-inch pieces just like these. I'm gonna show you how you prepare your leaves for the tamal. So I have low heat. You just very, very slowly and gently just pass the leaf through the open flame on both sides. And you can see how the banana leaves transforms in colors. It's going to be much more resilient, and it's not gonna break when you fold and wrap the tamal. It smells like a wild jungle. In here, we're gonna get the tamalera ready. You can just use any pot that you have and use a steaming basket. So I'm gonna add enough water so that it sits right under the steaming basket or the steaming layer. And I'm going to add some of the banana leaves on the bottom of the tamalera so that the tamales are not soaking with the boiling water. So you have your piece of banana leaf, a 1/4 cup of masa, and I'm going to make sort of a rectangle shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. I am going to make a little bit of an indentation. So beautiful. You wish you could eat it like this. And then you're just gonna fold it. following the shape, and you fold it like that. And now you want to put them in the tamalera. You want to stack them when it starts to steam, and you want to stack them staggered. So I'm very proud because I'm using staggered, which is a word that I just learned to use in English because I knew the word in Spanish. I was flying back home and I was making notes of what I want to tell you for when I made these tamales. And I asked the neighbor on the plane, and I said, I'm trying to say that I'm going to cook some tamales and I don't want to cook them like that. I want to cook them like that. Do you have a word for that? And he just looked at me and he says, oh, staggered. You mean staggered. So really kind and patient man from seat 12E. If for any reason, any chance you are watching this show, I will mail you some tamales. I'm just gonna cook these for about 50 minutes to an hour. Can't think of a better dessert to go after the mini pibis than this crema de coco. So I have sweetened coconut flakes, add a half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And then I'm going to add about a quarter teaspoon sea salt. And then I'm gonna mix it. I'm putting it in the oven, which is at 325 for 5 minutes. To make the crema de coco, start by mixing a cup of cold milk with a half a cup of cornstarch. Into the saucepan, a can of sweetened condensed milk, and I'm going to add 2 cans coconut milk. Now add the cornstarch and cold milk mixture. Low to medium heat, and then we're just gonna stop when this mixture coats the back of the spoon. This is exactly how you want your coconut, so that you have some coconut pieces that are still a little bit moist and chewy. The crema de coco is ready. We're just going to spoon the crema de coco in these ramekins. You're gonna add the toasted coconut flakes. Set these aside and let them cool a little bit because I think my mini pibis are ready. As you can see, the banana leaf became like a second skin. So good! The masa, since it was pre-cooked in the pan, it is much more dense. It is a little bit gelatinous, very different from a tamal that's cooked in a corn husk. And then it has this topping of the shredded chicken in that very thick achiote sauce, and I can't describe the punch of flavor it packs. Really incredible. I think I could eat the whole pot in there. Let me see if the crema de coco has cooled down. So you can eat it hot, you can eat it lukewarm. It's really delicious cold. It's very suave coconut pudding, very, very light. And then the very playful topping, it just makes for a super charming ending to a meal. I'm a very happy woman right now. The only thing missing is Chachi and her family, but I think she would definitely approve.